Welcome to the first Chiefs Instant Reaction Sports on 580 post-game show. Brendan Dworzinski and Fulton Caster here with you, hosts of 580 Sports Talk and Mic'd Up, respectively, coming to you following a Kansas City Chiefs dominant win over the Arizona Cardinals, 44-21 in Week 1 of the 2022 season. Patrick Mahomes was absolutely sensational, 30 of 39, 360 yards, 5 touchdowns. Kelsey over 100 yards in a score, 2 receiving touchdowns in the first half for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That just glazes over effectively, grazes over some of the depth and just the utter dominance in this game, Fulton. Overall, what was your biggest takeaway from this Chiefs win in Week 1?
My biggest thing here was the offensive versatility of the Chiefs. We've hyped it up a lot so far as this offseason gone, is that this might be the most versatile the offense has looked in some times, and all the different ways that they can get to you. But the way the running game worked, we talked about the preseason. Everyone was like, the running game's broken. It has issues. Can they run the ball? Can they run it? Everyone was so worried, and the Chiefs come out, average as a team over 4.5 yards per carry in this one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked great with his burst and his vision, his cutting. Isaiah Pacheco looked great. He got his first career touchdown. Jerick McKinnon looked good. The biggest thing for me is the thing that everyone was worried about was, can this team run the football with the way they're built this year? They answer that emphatically this year in this game, that they will be able to run the football, and they have a desire to, because Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are still going to want to throw the football, as evidenced by 5 touchdown passes on the day. There was still a lot of a commitment to the running game. It was used in the proper spots, and this Chiefs team's offense was just as potent as ever as they really put it on Arizona today.
Yeah, I mean, they poured it on from the very beginning. 14-0 after the first quarter, 23-7 going into the break. And honestly, I thought it could have even been even bigger than that. And biggest takeaway, I think, was just the offensive game planning, I think, overall for the Chiefs, because we've talked about that so much, Fulton, going all the way back to the draft and free agency starting all over the summer and now into the actual start of the season following training camp. I've been hammering home day after day, I think this offense is going to come out looking for vengeance. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to come out looking for a vengeance. And I think Andy Reid, when you don't have that kind of cheat code player in Tyreek Hill, and we'll get to Tyreek Hill here in just a moment, but when you don't have that kind of cheat code player that has that one unique skill that is just so different than everybody else, you've got to change things up a little bit. You have to get a little bit more creative with scheme, with your weapons, with what you want your quarterback to do, with what you want your offensive line to do. So the fact that they came out, they got creative. We saw some of the funny stuff on the goal line, worked for a touchdown on that little underhand shovel pass to Clyde Edwards-Helaire at one point. It was just an extremely effective and efficient game, really, for the offense up and down. So that was the big thing for me, game plan-wise. I thought this was a masterclass by Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy. What the hell? Throw Matt Nagy in there, Patrick Mahomes as well, and just a masterclass and all you could possibly have hoped for Week 1. And I hope that if you listened to 580 Sports Talk over the course of the week, especially on Friday, you heard me pounding the table saying, hammer the Chiefs, whatever number they give you, -5, 5.5, 6, 3.5, does not matter when you took it. You want to be on the Chiefs side of this game. And thankfully, that proved to be a pretty profitable prediction going into this weekend. Best performances individually, Fulton, for you. You named a couple of players just a moment ago. I think the obvious one here is Patrick Mahomes. We can probably gloss over him because you go 30 of 39 passing. That's better than 75% completion percentage, 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. It was a damn near perfect game for Patrick Mahomes. Outside of the quarterback, because we know he is that dude, who is your defensively on Sunday afternoon?
For me, looking at this game, obviously glossing over Patrick Mahomes and just how great he was, and even glossing over Travis Kelce a little bit. He had himself a great day, but we know what those two can do. We expect those kind of performances from Patrick Mahomes and from Travis Kelce. For me, I loved what I saw out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his limited action. You know, you think with 2 touchdowns, how can he be limited? He only had 10 touches in totality on the day, but his vision was back. His burst was LSU level of burst from Clyde Edwards-Helaire that we saw in this game today. The burst, the vision, the cut. He was being involved in the passing game, had those receiving touchdowns. I would like to see more, and I think we will. I think part of the reason Clyde Edwards-Helaire was limited to 10 touches was a little bit Andy Reid just likes to throw the ball around and wants to spread some of the wealth around. And part of it was he completely called off the dogs there to the end of the third quarter and going into the fourth. And very quickly, it became the Isaiah Pacheco show at running back. But the way Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran, this is the healthiest he's really truly been since probably the first game of his rookie season when he looked great against Houston and showed everything there. So a healthy, fully healthy Clyde Edwards-Helaire behind this interior offensive line of Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. And even when Nick Allegretti came in there, he looked fantastic as well. I really liked what I saw, and I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he can just stay healthy, will have a tremendous third season in the NFL.
A couple of pass catchers really stood out to me. I think, obviously, you look at Travis Kelce, 8 catches, 121 yards, had a touchdown in the game as well. I mean, he was just so effective, even though Arizona knew, Vance Joseph, their defensive coordinator, knew the entire time that's number one and probably option number 2 as well. And Kelce still went out there. Again, 8 catches on 9 targets, over 100 yards, average over 15 yards per reception. Just a huge day for him. I liked what we saw from Juju Smith-Schuster. Not an eye-popping performance in his first game as a Kansas City Chief, but hey, 6 catches, 79 yards. That's something that you love to see already in that rhythm with Patrick Mahomes. And I also want to throw in this, and again, not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn here. 580 Sports Talk Friday, myself and Dan Lucero, we gave our keys to the game, and one of mine was this Arizona defense, super banged up. Their cornerbacks room, not all that good. Attack them on the outside. We saw plenty of that today from this offense, and that includes with Juju Smith-Schuster. We'd be remiss if we didn't finish at least a little bit of this discussion talking about the Kansas City Chiefs defense. You have 21 points in a game to a quarterback like that, and in theory, an offense that is supposed to put up a bunch of points. That's a pretty good day overall. What impressed you the most about the Chiefs' defensive effort in Week 1?
What impressed me the most, especially those first 3 quarters, when you hold Arizona to just 7 points through 3 quarters, when they don't really start scoring until that mostly second-team defense comes on the field, that's always a great sign. But there was the tenaciousness of a pass rush. They didn't get home all the time, but they were collapsing the pocket consistently. Chris Jones was making a living in that backfield most of the game. George Karlaftis looked good. Carlos Dunlap got a sack in the game. Even Frank Clark had a little bit of some pressuring off the edge there. So the number one thing I noticed was just how much the defense was able, in that front four, was able to just consistently maybe not get home, but collapse the pocket, force Kyler Murray to move. Maybe with a less mobile quarterback, you get more of those sacks. It's really hard to get Kyler Murray down. Very agile, very quick, very shifty, knows how to kind of move around and get out of the grips of defenders and run away from defenders. But I love the pressure from the front four in there. And then the tackling was, for the most part, very solid. There were a couple of moments there where you had some guys come in, looked like they're going to make clean hits, and then other guys got away. But overall, great pressure from the front four and collapse in the pocket, and very solid tackling effort and coverage on the back end.
Yeah, I thought just overall it was a phenomenal effort by the defense. I mean, you give up on average less than 5 yards per play for the game between the passing offense for Arizona and their run game. That is obviously a huge win for your defense. And I'm with you. I'll chime in on the front four as well. You look at the guys who were able to get pressure today, and all you have to do is look at the basic counting stats. You brought Carlos Dunlap in to be a pass rusher extraordinaire, to add some extra help to the youngster Karlaftis, to add some help to the veteran Clark, who's been struggling the last couple of years. What does he do? Picks up a sack in his first game. Tershawn Wharton, why did you make the roster over some of the older guys who we brought into camp to challenge for a roster spot? Boom, he shows you right away. He ends up with a sack. And we got to shout out L'Jarius Sneed, too. I believe it was very early in the game, first quarter, one of those patented Steve Spagnuolo slot corner blitzes. L'Jarius Sneed comes in, blasts Kyler Murray. Great defensive game plan. Honestly, I don't want to go overboard here, Fulton, but this was about as good of a game plan as I think we possibly could have hoped for the Chiefs in Week 1.
It really was, and I think that first drive is actually where the biggest way to look at what this defense can be when everything works together. The first play, you do a great job trying to get some pressure, ends up making you second down and 10. Then on second down, a good pass is completed, but you make a good tackle short of the sticks, force third down, and then that patented L'Jarius Sneed corner blitz comes off the slot there, heat-seeking missile, shot out of a cannon, you get the sack. That kind of encapsulates what the Chiefs can be when every piece is working together. Find a way to either force incomplete passes, tackle well to give yourself a chance on something like a third down, and then someone come in and make a play. That is what this was, and there's still some growing pains. There were some mistakes in the back end in coverage. There were times that guys were left wide open. There were moments to where you would still like a little bit more. The rookies played well for the most part, but also got burned a couple of times. But overall, given everything that is put there together and how many young players are being asked to play on this Chiefs defense, you could not have asked for a better debut for them on the defensive side of the football against a very potent and explosive Arizona offense.
2 final thoughts to take us home tonight. First things first, hope Trent McDuffie is okay. Talking about young corners. No, he got banged up at the end of the game. Hopefully that is nothing serious and he's able to get out there, because I think depth at corner, if it's not a concern, it is something to at least pay some attention to and to question a little bit as we go forward this season. And also this to wrap it up from Evan Kaplan of ESPN. In 14 career games in the month of September, Patrick Mahomes now has 46 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions with a 12-2 record. Both of those losses coming last season. That is tremendous. And once again, we saw why he is right now the best quarterback in the NFL. Fulton will have more reaction to this game coming up on Monday on 580 WIBW on the latest edition of Mic'd Up with Jake and Fulton. Then you can join myself and Dan Lucero coming up on Monday, 3 until 6 on 580 WIBW with another edition of 580 Sports Talk. Don't forget to follow the Sports on 580 crew on Twitter. Fulton is at FultonCaster. I'm at Brendan DZW, as you see on your screen. And, of course, go follow at Sports on 580 as well. Until next time, and hopefully another Chiefs win, recapping this week 1 victory for Kansas City. For FultonCaster, I'm Brendan Dworzinski. We'll talk to you next time on the Chiefs Instant Reaction Postgame Show.